Hello everybody, this is Sarahscopic and you're watching Traffic Musings. This is the 99th episode. Woo! I'm going to take a moment and say that I believe I do know what I'm doing for the 100th episode. I will not reveal it quite yet, but I believe I have an idea shared by some other people, then conglomerate of things, and so we're going to go for it and see what happens. In any case, I do also want to share that being the 99th episode, I have to make a burgeoning confession to all of you. I hate the number 9, which is kind of weird because a lot of important things have happened to me associated with 9. My favorite, one of my favorite games is, the title is 999. I'm part of the Lucid 9 project. Some dates, my birthday includes 9s in it. Well, not the date but the year, 1990s. I'm a 90s baby. Lots of things happen with 9s, but I hate the number 9. And I hate the number 9 because it seems like so close, right? It's a disappointing number. If you had a little bit more, it could be a 10. It could be a solid number. But no, instead it's just a 9. It's like the 99.99%. I hate that. It's just a little bit more, it could be a full 100%. Why? 9s are just not enough. It's the equivalent number of not enough, and I don't like that. It makes me feel sad inside. 9, I know you mean well, but I don't like you very much. You're very strange to me. Get good and be a 10. Anyway, what am I talking about today? Oh yeah, the title probably says something like I'm super famous. That's not true, but I wanted to talk about a fun thing that I got to do some time ago, during this hiatus thingamabutchcall that I was on for way too long. So, as I reported at some point, I was in a play called The Laramie Project, and that was super cool. I really enjoyed it. And I think it's hard, the problem is it's hard to talk about what it meant to me without understanding, without seeing it, without really being there. But the one thing I want to draw attention to was that one of my characters that I played in the Laramie Project, I mentioned her before, Romaine Patterson. She's got this scene, this really important scene where she's talking about the angels and covering Fred Phelps and stuff like that. And that scene was always like super exhausting. Every night we had to perform that scene, me and the guy who played Fred Phelps, we would both be like, oh, afterwards, because we were just like so mentally drained by the amount of energy that scene took, especially since we kind of bonded, right? Because it was like we both were characters that basically hated each other in a way, but because of that, nobody else could understand that moment, right? And so both of us are just like, oh, this scene, so powerful, so draining. And I don't know, but at the same time, like, that was my favorite scene in the entire play because it was so powerful. And the reaction out of the audience members was just so, like, love it. That scene even got applause one night, which to me was just the biggest compliment to all of us. And that day, like, I exited the stage and I was like, yes! I was so happy. And there were times it just felt right. And it was awesome. And the reason it was awesome is because, as you guys may know, if you know anything about me, I haven't done theater in a very, very long time. I did it in high school, and I did it very little in college. I mean, it was for fun. It was not, this was for fun too, but it was not a serious thing when I did it in college. It was not the theater program. It was it was more of like a mini course, we would call it, literally. And, but this was different. This was a community theater project that had an importance to it, and we did it, and we had audience members, and we had people who paid to come see it. And so being able to put myself back into it was really awesome, especially considering that literally, and I do mean literally, like, probably 6 months ago, I was talking to somebody about, what I used to do and what I would love to still continue doing. And I remember I was like, oh yeah, I loved theater. That was my life. That was something I considered going into at one point, and then I took away that, but it was something I loved doing. I loved theater. I loved acting. I loved going those roles and doing all of that stuff. But I remember I was talking to somebody. I was like, yeah, but I've definitely lost my touch. If I went to audition, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. And I got in, and people were happy, and I was happy with it, and it was just kind of cool. It's like, no, you didn't really lose anything, Sarah. You know a lot. In some ways, my education in other areas, such as psychology, kind of better informed me. me in some ways, which makes sense. But still, it was interesting how I was able to really, when you are educated on constantly trying to put your perspective and trying to see other people's perspectives and such like that, it's kind of amazing how that can inform your acting. I mean, it's obvious, but I didn't think about that until I got back into it, and the skills I had learned through college were what I was using, and I just happened to be that I was able to showcase it. Because it's one thing to know what to do, it's another thing to actually do it, and that can be difficult. It's the whole everybody's a critic, right? Everybody knows when food tastes bad, but they don't necessarily know how to cook good food, right? And that's the thing with acting that I think I was kind of afraid of at first. It was like, I know what I need this to sound like, and I know what I need to be like, but can I actually perform it? And the answer is, yeah, I could, which is great. So as far as my future in community theater, that's left to be determined. It's a big time commitment, you know. As you saw, I couldn't really do much of my show. I had to go on hiatus partially because of it. And so, you know, you got to be careful with that. But I don't know. It was just nice. It was nice. The theater drama wasn't so nice, but it was nice overall. But that's, I think, an unfortunate reality with theater in general. I have so little time for it, partially probably because of the work I do, where I'm just like, listen, I don't need to get dragged into this. I deal with kids that have emotional things and problems at home. I don't have time to deal with this drama right now, you know what I mean? And so it's like, okay, you go deal with it there. I'm just going to do my part, or we're going to see where this ends up. But yeah, so that was really cool. The other thing that's like, I'm super famous is I got an opportunity to be an extra in an indie film, which was kind of cool. I don't know if I'm allowed to share what film it is. I mean, I've shared it with people, but I don't, like, we did have to sign a non-disclosure form, but I think we could share the film. I feel weird because I don't really know how much we're allowed to share, but I think we're allowed to share this part. I was an extra in a film that's being filmed right now called Artificial Loyalty. I know very little about it other than it's kind of a gangster film a little bit, I guess. I don't actually know. By that I mean like, not gangster, actually I meant more like mobster kind of film. I'm more of like a modern mobster kind of thing. And I basically, a friend of mine found out about it and she went, you want to do this? I went, okay. And so the four of us just went on a Thursday night, I think it was. Yeah, it was a Thursday night, I think it was last week. And we dressed up because we were supposed to be in kind of a fancy club scene. And we were there and we just kind of sat and pretended to interact with each other and drank. I drank fake shots and all this kind of stuff. And it was pretty cool. I mean, it's not like, you know, oh my gosh, I saw a famous person or anything, which doesn't really matter, but it was just kind of cool. It's like, oh, I'm being filmed right now. And what's also kind of creepy is you actually could see me in the scenes because of the way they filmed it. I didn't think you would because they positioned us in some area, and so I was like, oh, okay, we're not gonna get screen time, but whatever, we're just extras. But then there was a point during the filming process where actually they let everybody go but certain people in like one specific area, which was our group and a couple of other people. And because we were in the last shot, so there's a scene where I'm sitting right next to the actors while they're doing something for like a second. So I mean, that's kind of cool. If you go see Artificial Loyalty, you might see me. And I think the coolest part about it, I will say, is the lady who was in charge of the extras turned to us and was like, have I worked with you guys before? We went, nope. We just happened to find out about this and just went. And she said, you know, I've got an opportunity for you guys for another extras part later on. And so that's what I'm doing this weekend, actually. So that's going to be interesting. I'll see how that works because also it's coming up this weekend, which by the time this comes up, it's probably over. Because I imagine this is going to be going up the day after I have this filmed. By the time you see this, I don't think I will be in the live stream any longer. As you guys hopefully saw in my previous video, I am participating in a live stream of Limit Break Radio through one of their hosts, Callie. She's super cool. She and I are friends, and so she was nice enough to invite me on her live stream, charity live stream that she's doing for Extra Life. By the time this is uploaded, it's probably still going on, but I'm probably no longer in it. So hopefully you guys caught that, and if you did, hope you enjoyed it. Otherwise, yeah, that's a thing. And then I'll be doing this after. Also, just a couple days ago, I had toe surgery. Did I mention I was gonna have toe surgery? I don't know if I mentioned that. I had to have toe surgery for my ingrown toenail. In case you guys wanted to know this much about my life, sorry, I don't know what these cars are doing. In case you wanted to know this much about my life, I have naturally ingrown toenails, and by that I mean, like, I had to have surgery. This is the third time I've had to have surgery, on each end of the big toe. I haven't had it the fourth time because that end I think is actually okay. But, when I mean they're naturally ingrown, I mean, like, you know, a sixth, a quarter of an inch of nail in my foot. It's not fun. It's really not fun. So I currently have a big fat bandage on my toe right now, which won't come off until Monday. And after that, I get to bleed through socks, because that's what happened last time. I'm really salty because the first time I had this surgery, which was 10 years ago, they used an acid thing to stop the nail from growing back, and it was super easy. No problem. The recovery time was quick. And the second time they did it, and this time when they did it, same way, they use a laser. When they use a laser, they're burning away flesh, and there's a hole in your toe for a little bit till it heals over. And the last time this happened, I had to go back to the doctor because I had an infection, and I kept bleeding through my socks. I like destroyed 10 pairs of socks because of the recovery time. And yes, I had a Band-Aid on, but anyway, it was gross. But hopefully this time will be a little bit better because they were more proactive in the whole back infection issue. I actually had to take antibacterial stuff, and I will be taking Bacti and stuff like that in case you guys need to know that. But yeah, it's not a fun time. The surgery itself was relatively painless and easy, except for the part where they inject your anesthesia. I hate that part. It's the worst thing ever. But the actual surgery is really simple. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to deal with the, I'm dealing with the live stream and with this extras thing with a big bandage on my toe. I'm trying to see if I have any boots that can fit with this bandage on my toe. We'll see how that goes, because right now I'm wearing a surgical foot, and that ain't gonna fly. So we'll see what happens, in case you guys need to know that much about my life. Oh joys! Oh joys of joys. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope something amazing happens to you. Without further ado, I hope to see you all in the next episode. Bye-bye!